We're here today because a narrative has been put out. A narrative has been expressed by the Indianapolis Metropolitan Police Department that is just untrue. The narrative that we've all heard is that Drajon Reed shot and fired at an Indianapolis Metropolitan Police Department officer. And I'm here to say to you today, unequivocally, that Drajon Reed, Sean Reed, did not shoot a gun, did not point a gun, did not brandish a gun at an officer. He did not. The narrative that you've heard is incorrect. It's false. It's misleading. It did not happen. This is not a play on words. Don't try to look for hidden meaning. It did not happen. Drajon Reed was an airman. He was trained to handle weapons. He was a licensed gun holder. If he did have a gun, then he had a Second Amendment right to have one. The Second Amendment is something that is not, that people don't want everyone to exercise. And Drajon Reed, if he did have a gun, had a right to have one. And that's very important. I want you to understand that we come back again and again to the scene of what happened because it was an injustice that happened here today, here that day on May 6th. And here we stand almost a month later and the injustices are still occurring. We see that in our streets. We see that around the country. Drajon Reed's mother is here today. And she's here to tell you about the last time she saw her son.
My name is Dimitri Wynn.
Speak up for me.
My name is Dimitri Wynn. I finally got to see my son after the coroner released his body.
Take your time, mama. We here.
If you've ever seen my son's eyes, just know they shot his eyes out. They sewed his eyelids shut so you couldn't see the hole in his face. That's on the right side, but on the left side, it was a hole that they pushed some stuff in so I couldn't see the inside of his face. So if you say he deserved that, you wrong. That's what I saw. I didn't get the chance to look at the rest of his body because I couldn't get past his face. The only thing I could see was his teeth. That's how I knew it was my son. I know what his teeth look like. I know every hair on his head. Nobody wants to see their kid look like that. They couldn't fix his face. They tried. He had one eyebrow that was almost at his nose and the other one was on his forehead. That's how much damage was done to his face alone. To shoot somebody point blank, that's how that damage happens. I've been a nurse long enough, I've seen damage to people's bodies, whether they wanted it to happen or not. This shouldn't have happened to him. When I go running, are you gonna shoot me too? I run half marathons. Are y'all gonna shoot me too? The only thing I haven't done is a marathon, but I'm scared to do a marathon because I don't know who's out there. Anybody can be out there. Anybody can do something. I'm not perfect. But who is? Which one of you have ever done something you know you shouldn't have done? You can't tell me you perfect. If you tell me you perfect, then you're lying. Just like IMPD is lying. The more lies you tell, the truth is going to come out. No matter what. Everybody wants to know what I have to say. That's what I have to say.
That's
I am Drejon Reed.
that's a mother, y'all. She told me before we came over here that they finally met with the city officials. This is about stonewalling and obfuscation when it ought to be about transparency. The other trick, as we've done a number of these fights before, the other trick is to carry us to a rabbit hole and get us down in the weeds. How many bullets is on the ground? Who shot? Which gun did it come from? But Drejon stands in a terrible line that have impacted Indianapolis, Indiana, Minnesota, Atlanta, and now the world. They're calling his name out in New Zealand, and here's why. We're not gonna go out down in the weeds. We're gonna get up in the helicopter and look at this and say that there are 18,000 police departments in America. In Indianapolis, if you got off the plane, out at the airport, you'd have to drive through about 10 different police departments. Rocky Ripple up here, Speedway, Claremont, Lawrence, the Capital City Police, IMPD. All of them police differently, but all of them seem to have one social contract. Whatever you do, if you're white, you all right. But if you're black, get back, you dirty black. Someone just sent me on this phone a white fellow that was stopped by two white cops. He was stopped by two white cops. They got in his car, they used billy clubs, they got him out. He took the billy club, he beat both the white cops. He took their keys and got in the police car, They were calling him by his front name. He got in the police car and backed up. They said, Joe, stop, Joe, stop, Joe, stop, Joe, stop. Whatever they say about Dejan, they police differently because it wasn't a gun that was involved, it was his black skin. Your black skin makes you weaponized. And what you see going on all over America, and thank God some white folks is coming out now. What you see going on all over America, because you told us, don't believe your lying eyes. Where you see all of these police chiefs jumps up right now over George Floyd's case and say, we don't need to see anything else. Those people need to be convicted. Those people need to be indicted. All the police chiefs over the place of thing, they've filled up to here because there's a culture of violence in all of these police departments, including Indianapolis Police Department. I sent a letter to the mayor and to the police chief and said, you have 1,700 cops. Every one of your captains in investigation, white male. All of the people in training, I said that January 1st, so they made some move. Every one of your people in training, white folks. They come from the bills, Rush bill, Shelby bill, some other bill, but not our bill. They don't understand our neighborhood or our hood. And they police differently. We're not gonna get in the weeds. We're not gonna have this mother insulted by begging for a meeting with the mayor and those people. Amen. Y'all don't hear me now. Oh, I'm talking now, I'm talking now. I'm talking now. Listen here. We know the games. We fought the Michael Taylor case. We fought the Leonard Barnett case. We fought every one of those cases. We fought the no-knock cases. We understand how you do this, but not this time. Not this time. Not this time. We ain't waiting on the coroner's report. We're saying treat Brother Sean like you do Opie. We know you didn't do it with the drugs. You came down in our neighborhood and put everybody in jail with crack. But when Opie got the opioids, you took him to the hospital. Take Sean to the hospital, not to the morgue. This is about, we're not going in the weeds and say we get this attorney, and we're going to bring another attorney, and we're going to get another autopsy. We're not doing any of that. There's something fundamentally wrong about this police department. This is the 12th largest city in America. We own the police department. The FOP don't own the police department. We own the police department. If you have a house and you got a plumber fixing your pipes, let him come in and show his butt, because that's what the plumbers do. Fix your pipes and leave your house. We employ the police department to do certain things. Not to kill us, not to go and eat donuts, not to take care of white folks and kill black folks. And one last thing and then I'm done. Say, Rush, as black folks that shot this baby, I know it, but you gotta understand how the police department works. When I said it's a culture of violence, here's what I'm saying to you. The way they hire folks, you gotta fit a certain mold. And if you're not making the certain mold, they got some folks in training whose job it is to weed you out. You gotta wear the uniform, Brother Jabu. You gotta wear the uniform. And they're strategically put there to weed you out. What's the criteria? Do you like white folks? Yeah. You gonna get on those darkies? Yeah. you can stay. They promote people like that. And they put a black face in a position of authority just so they can cover their behind. But this department belongs to us.
I got a question. Would they would have shot him like that if he was wearing that uniform? Probably. No. They wouldn't have shot him if he was white neither.
Would they have shot him like that? Let me ask a question. Would they have shot him like that if he was in the uniform? Let me tell you this. Ask that black state police that went up in Carmel. Ask that FBI agent that's black that stayed out a little too late and went to Claremont, Plainfield, Zionsville. If you don't have that uniform, and if you don't show you got that uniform, if you got a PhD or no D at all, if you black, you in it. This is what we got to stop, y'all. This is what we got to stop. And as I listen to Brother Ajabu, as I listen to these attorneys, they want us to get into the weeds. 15 bullets out here. So many bullets come from the option. So many come from a 9mm. They want us to get into the, we will never win in the weeds. Step back and said, yes, I believe my eyes, because my eyes are not lying eyes. I believe my eyes. I believe my eyes when I see white militia come in. I was in weapons platoon when you was in Vietnam. I was in weapons platoon, 9mm Glocks, AK-47s. I ain't never seen the guns that I seen up in the State House in Michigan walking in, and when it got to the metal detector, the people said, oh no, you don't have to go through, just walk on around. And you gonna shoot a baby out here?
Make it plain, preacher.
We ain't here to get another meeting. We're here to change the whole system. The police department belongs to us. And here's why this is, and I am done. Here's why this is. Here's why. Until 45, until this president, no president in history had the power to kill a civilian in America. Now this one said he could shoot somebody on Fifth Avenue, and he put the armies out on the peaceful protesters. So this one's different. The only people in America that has the power to kill you is a policeman. They have summary judgment authority. It doesn't have to be adjudicated, and their go-to move is, I feared for my life. You cannot give anybody that kind of authority without accountability. And the accountability cannot be with the FOP. The FOP is as racist as that tree. Those leaves are green on that tree. They're racist.
Them cops should be having cameras. All cops should have cameras. As soon as you get out that car, that camera's supposed to be rolling.
Not even that dash
Even when you pull somebody over, but you about to pull
Well, I heard. Wait a minute, y'all. I heard about the dash cam. I heard about the dash cams, and that story ain't over. But she's absolutely right. After Aaron Bailey, did not they say they're gonna have cameras? All right. So, but my point is this: whether body cameras or whether any of those other things, what this fight has to be about right now is that Sean and Ahmaud and Floyd and Philando Castile and Leonard Barnett and John Lee and Sandra Bland, they're all in this unholy line. And we have to join our forces to change our police department. We have to quit putting all the budget in the police department, and we have to say to the police department, this is the job, your job description. Here's what we expect you to do. We had to depoliticize the police department. That police department belonged to us. Decriminalize it. Thank you. Thank you very much.
The police. Thank you.
Thank you, Elder Rush, for saying all the things that we were going to say. For saying all the things that we are all thinking. That needs to be said. You're right, brother. The police department did not protect Dre John when he was a victim of a violent crime. He was a victim of a violent crime just last year. He was shot in the head while being robbed.
Who knows that story?
He expressed fear for his life. He expressed fear for the lives of his family. And he was told when people showed up at his family's house to intimidate them that it is a public sidewalk and they are allowed to stand on a public sidewalk. The faith that he had in the police's ability to protect him was minimal. The faith that we have in the police department's ability to tell the truth about this very case. And I know what's happening around the world, but what is happening here? You don't have to make a statement about what's happening around the world. Politicians, mayors, city council members, you don't have to do that. You can make a statement, you can stand up about what's happening right here.
Make it plain.
What district are we sitting in?
7.
7. Across the street, what's that? 8.
White Township.
Where did Dre John Reed live? 4. But you don't have to wait. You can stand with us and make a statement. You don't have to wait to see, like Elder Rush said, what's in the weeds. You don't have to wait for that. You can call for transparency. I'm gonna let Attorney Soiree Conte come up and tell you what we have been doing and update you on this case.
Thank you, Fatima. Thank you, Elder Rush. Now, as you all know, Dre John was killed in broad daylight.
Wait a minute, attorney. I forgot to say one more thing. I got to say one. The white person that I was talking about in the analogy stole the police car. When they tried to get him, he locked the door, backed up, and then drove off, and they was calling him by his front name, Joe, come back. And the question was, what if that had been Deshaun? How many bullets would have went in that car?
Thank you again. Thank you. We understand that the IMPD was about to conclude its investigation without talking to a single civilian witness. We know the shooting happened right here in broad daylight, and there were eyewitnesses. Yesterday, we released an audio and video of 2 women who actually saw what transpired. They kind of commented as to what they saw happen that day. This morning, we read in the newspaper that the IMPD is saying that they tried to contact our office and we never responded to them or provide witnesses to them. But it is their duty to find witnesses. And I can let you know something. On the day this thing happened, and the day Dre John Reed was shot and killed right here, a few minutes, maybe a few 20, 30 minutes after that, a civilian approached an IMPD police officer and gave him his information and told him that he saw everything that happened. That IMPD officer know himself, and he ought to reveal the information to his bosses so they know exactly what that person saw that day. It is not our duty to give them that information. Now, since we came here the last time, we have made many moves. We had a conference call last week with Captain Spurgeon, supposed to be the head of the police department investigating this case. He told us nothing. All he said was that his hands are tied because this is an investigation that is going to be conducted by special prosecutors. So he gave us nothing, except he gave us the name of the lead detective in the case, who is Dan Kepler. Yesterday, Dan Kepler tried to call us. We returned his call. We were not able to talk to him. So to say that they've been reaching out to us is flat out untrue. Like Fatima said, Elder Ross said, we did meet with the mayor at his office downtown. Again, he did not provide us with any information that would be useful. So, and then we are asking the coroner still that we need the report as soon as possible. And listen, in Minnesota, after George Floyd was killed, it took less than a week. They produced 2 autopsy reports. So what is the one waiting for? It's almost a month since the killing of that young man. Since the IMPD was also not doing anything or telling us anything about the involvement of the Justice Department, on May 28, we sent a formal letter to the Justice Department requesting that they intervene immediately and investigate this case. And we do so also, we ask this now because we have the understanding that the government or the court is having trouble getting a special prosecutor because everyone is afraid. That is the more reason this case should go to the federal government right away. And also, there were numerous statements from IMPD officials, just like Fatima has mentioned, claiming that Drejon Reed has shot at the police officer, which we know is not true. So, but then they concealed the name of the officer who actually shot Drejon Reed. So on Sunday, we actually filed a motion in the court that is looking for the special prosecutor to compel the IMPD to release the names of the person who shot at Drejon Reed and the officer who made that awful comment about closed casket. We need his name as well, so we can investigate into the background of these people. We also need to have the names of any and all police officer who was present at the scene 30 minutes after the shooting. We would like that information as soon as possible. So we have not been sitting back. We have been filing letters, sending letters and motions. We've been having trouble getting the cooperation of the IMPD. And we know the reason for that.
What can we do?
They are trying to conceal relevant information so that the information, the evidence will be diluted. We're not going to allow that. So the thing that the community can do in a nonviolent manner is to make calls to the IMPD to release any and all information that is necessary for a transparent investigation. Finally, there is a claim that the claim is that Drejon Reed shot at the police officer. We sent a letter to the IMPD. If you're going to do any test of any gun that was used in the incident, we ought to be present or have a representative present. None of that has been done. So it is, we're glad that you're here this morning, and this is what we've been doing so far. We have some papers ready to file in court. We're not going to do that. Like I said before, we are still collecting evidence. If you have any information that you think might be relevant, do not be afraid to call our law office at 317-455-6829. If need be, we'll have attorneys to protect your interests. Thank you.
Attorney, if I could, a quick question.
Yes.
So we have all obviously seen the Facebook Live video of this entire incident, and as you mentioned, IMPD said that bullets came from both Reed and the police. Is it a video evidence that you have or witness accounts that say he never fired towards IMPD?
At this time, I'm not going to disclose information to you. I can only say we have evidence that is contrary to the claim that IMPD is making.
And IMPD also told us today that they've been asking that any videos or additional witness accounts be given to them, and they say that nothing of the sort has been done. So have you guys gotten additional witness accounts, or you're saying that people have come to them
Well, let me just talk about the video. That video that was broadcast is from Facebook. I think the IMPD has enough resources to be able to get a Facebook recording, audio or video. Thank you.
May I say something, please? What I would like to see over the nation, like I told Jay Sean's sister on the night that this incident happened.
Madam, I'm sorry. We're going to have to wait just a second.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll hold it.
Okay, I want to keep us focused. Dre John Reed, that's his name. I want to keep us focused. I know you all want to know how you can help, what you can do, and like Attorney Soare Conte said, you can call IMPD and put pressure on them to make sure that this investigation is done in a transparent way. You can call on the mayor's office and ask them to make sure that this transparency in this investigation. You can call on your city council member to make sure that there's transparency in this investigation. If you don't know what to say, Indy 10 Black Lives Matter has posted some scripts on their Facebook page. Go to their Facebook page, follow the scripts, call them. And if you want to deviate from the script a little bit, to tell them how you feel, make sure that happens. We've been exposed just in the course of doing this and having to do our own investigation to a flurry of other complaints about IMPD. And we hear you, and we see you. There are a lot of people who have issues about the way they've been treated because of their skin color and because of their social and economic status. We won't be happy until everybody's a part of this, until no one is left behind. We're not going to be happy by putting some tokens in place. That's not going to be enough for us. This is not a representative democracy as it stands right now. It's not. Who's looking out for Hallville? Who's looking out for Brightwood? Who's looking out for Fort Deuce?
It ain't the police.
Damn life.
Call the room. It's the community. We're the city.
We have to stay involved. This won't work unless it's sustained. I see you protesting. I'm happy you're protesting. We need to keep our foot on the neck of the system. I see you. I feel you. It has to keep going. It cannot stop. It cannot stop until people like me don't have to come here. People like Dimitri Wynn don't have to come here and beg and plead and fight and fight and fight and fight just for justice. Are you waiting until it's your son?
No.
Are you waiting until it's your brother?
No.
Are you waiting until it's you?
No.
Dre John Reed was murdered in this very spot. And although I'm tired, I'm ready. We will not relent. We will not stop until we have the truth. I thank you.
I am. Dre John Reed. I am. Dre John Reed. When I say I am, you say Dre John Reed.